Last time on the show, I talked about starting your tomatoes from seed indoors so you can get that perfect tomato for your garden. Maybe that didn't work out, maybe you don't have time to do that, or maybe you just forgot. So I'm here at the local garden center to pick out the tomato that's perfect for my garden and for your garden as well. There's lots of things to consider, and as you can see, we're in a sea of choices. So it's time to choose our own adventure when it comes to tomatoes and pick the right one that's the best choice for our garden. So one of the first choices that you have to make is the type of tomato that you want to grow fruit-wise, because that is dependent on what you want to use the fruit for. So if you're looking for a nice slicer for a BLT, you want a slicing type tomato. There's lots of different ones. Some common ones, you have those Beef Master, Big Beef, Celebrity. Those are slicers that you can put on the sandwich. If you're looking for something to make a salsa or to can with, you're going to want a sauce or a paste type tomato like a Roma, and those are a different type of tomato that you will use, and they have less liquid in them so that you can can them more efficiently. Then if you're looking for salad type tomatoes, there's cherries and grapes. We have all of these cherry and grapes here in the area, and those are the small little tomatoes that you can pop onto a salad easy peasy and not have to slice them up. Now the second choice that you have to look at is the growth habit of the tomato. So we have indeterminates and determinates. A determinate on the label means that it's a bush type tomato and it doesn't grow very tall. And it's much easier to grow than the vining type tomato, the indeterminate. And those are the ones that you see that just keep growing and growing and you have to stake up. The nice thing is that they keep producing throughout the season, unlike the determinates, but you do have to keep them under control. Now these days you can even find some other types of tomatoes. There are dwarf tomatoes that are meant for containers. They're very small and compact, and you can still get a good harvest from them even though they're a small plant. And now we even have grafted tomatoes. So those grafted tomatoes have been added onto a new rootstock. Let's say we have an heirloom variety which has a little bit more disease problems than the hybrid varieties. We add those onto a hybrid rootstock that adds some disease resistance. So we have all of those different types of tomatoes, and those are the different types of choices that you have to look at whenever you're in the sea of tomatoes. Hey there, I just have these few tomatoes today. So if you remember, we talked about picking the right tomato for how you want to use it, whether or not it's a slicer or a canner. You pick that type of fruit out for your use. We also talked about picking out the type of growth habit of the tomato, those indeterminate viney ones, the determinate bushy ones, or even those dwarf ones for the containers. And we also talked about trying something new. There's those grafted tomatoes that are out these days that have all kinds of fun functions, including adding disease resistance to those heirlooms that don't have those disease resistance. So pick out those right tomatoes for you. You can choose your own adventure in the sea of tomatoes at your local garden center.